Ms. Marvel is releasing soon, and Kamala looks to be continuing her hero's work of dumping all over the Marvel legacy, only on the Ms side this time. But what is that legacy? Let's go back to the beginning and see if we can untangle this yarn ball of a canon. Welcome to Cannonball. The original Ms. Marvel was Carol Danvers, aka Warbird, aka Binary, aka Captain Marvel. I've already discussed her in the episode on the Captain Marvel legacy, so I'll be brief with the summary here. Carol was the love interest of original Captain Marvel, Mar-Vell, introduced in 1967's Marvel Superheroes number 13. She was essentially Carol Ferris from Green Lantern, and much like that Carol, she later gained powers similar to the main hero and became Ms. Marvel in 1977's Ms. Marvel number 1. Since the original video, Carol's true origin has been revealed, where she is a half-Kree and even has a half-sister named L'Oreal, because she's worth it apparently. Dude, I should love this character, blue-skin muscle girl, but her origin in bad retcons and her cringeworthy name make that impossible. And as far as I can tell, Carol hasn't been treated any better in the comics than she was 3 years ago. But one could argue that retconning decades of continuity and making the origin of her powers far less unique makes her current treatment worse. The second Ms. Marvel was Sharon Ventura, a recurring character from the Thing solo book debuting in issue 27 in 1985. In issue 35, she received super strength and endurance in order to compete in the Unlimited Class Wrestling Federation with Ben. She joined the Fantastic Four the following year, being hit by cosmic rays and mutating into a female Thing 3 issues later, and taking on the moniker of She-Thing. She went through a villainous phase for a while and then reverted to her human form sometime after the 2015 Secret Wars event. If you know who this character is, it's likely because she was a costume for Carol in the first Ultimate Alliance game. Although never going by Ms. Marvel herself, the young heroine Ultra Girl, aka Susanna, was given the original Ms. Marvel costume by Carol as a graduation gift in 2008's Avengers the Initiative number 12. She kept the costume until issue 21, where Norman Osborn obtained the name and likeness rights and forced her to give the costume up, leading us into the most prominent 10th Ms. Marvel. Debuting in 1975's Captain America number 192, Carla Sulfin was a psychologist who gained Kree powers in 1978's Incredible Hulk number 228, and took on the supervillain identity of Moonstone. She was part of Osborn's Dark Avengers team debuting in 2009. Each member was a dark reflection of one of the Avengers, like Nova as Captain Marvel and Carla as Ms. Marvel. The team was disbanded during the 2010 Siege event, which saw the return of the Marvel Trinity to depose Osborn and expose his secrets. Carla was arrested by Carol and Iron Man. I expect she'll show up in the MCU somewhere in the near future to oppose Carol or Kamala. It wouldn't surprise me if one of the undisclosed roles from the Marvels turns out to be her. The final and current Ms. Marvel is probably the best known one at this point, or will be with the release of the show. Debuting in 2014's All New Marvel Now .1 number 1 Now because comics are fucking stupid, Kamala Khan is an Inhuman whose powers were activated by the Terrigen Mist bomb that was used to cause an explosion in the Inhuman population to replace mutants when Disney didn't have the film rights to the X-Men. Kamala is one of the few explorations of superhero fandom in this superhero setting, being a big fan of the likes of Spider-Man, Wolverine, and especially Carol Danvers, hence taking the name. Kamala can stretch or enlarge any part of her body and even shapeshift. This is somewhat similar to Reed Richards' power set, which many believe is the reason for her getting completely unrelated abilities in the MCU, which are just a rip-off of Green Lantern, fittingly enough. I'll likely make an adaptive difficulty on the show in the future, so I'll leave it at that for now. But I will say, give the show a chance. I mean, could you get more perfect casting than this MCU fangirl who knows what she's talking about?
I don't believe that the MCU is 616. It is 199999.
Why are they so good at casting? Good work. I could go into similar mantles like Marvel Girl, Lady Marvel, and Ms. Mavel, but they're completely unrelated. The only one with a solid connection is Marlene Brachet, aka Marvel Woman of the Year 20XX, who wore Carol's Warbird costume. And that's it. But before we wrap up, let's talk about a few brief imposters. In Ms. Marvel number 7, MODOK had AIM's Agent 17 put on the captive Carol's costume because he believed her powers came from the costume. They did not. In 2011, Norman Osborn tried to reform the Dark Avengers with Deirdre Wentworth, aka Superior, as Ms. Marvel, only for Scar to turn out to be a double agent and beat them all up. There were two different Skrull imposters of Carol during Secret Invasion, one who blew herself up after being captured, and one who died in the fight with the Avengers. And to close out, when I said earlier that Kamala is probably the best known Ms. Marvel, I'm obviously referring to the most well-known character in the Ms. Marvel role, because the mainstream audience only knows Carol as Captain. A lot of you may think that this is too obvious to need stating, and I appreciate that, but I've had people be pedantic and dumb with my wording before, and I don't want to see such stupidity surrounding this topic. We have enough of that with the failed Avengers game somehow coming out on top over the MCU with the representation of Kamala. If you liked this video, why not subscribe and support me on Patreon like these fine people here? If not, then make sure to share it with your enemies so they can suffer along with you. Today's recommended video is Why Ms. Marvel's Powers Are a Big Deal by Panels to Pixels. It explains why Kamala's power change may have been ill-considered when the original powers fit the themes of her story so well.